After we managed to get the ship up and running, the purpose of how it should fly came into play. We needed to make sure that it could fly. Anyway, of course, Skrin, the Skadorian, as he called himself, that was his species, told us that the ship could be piloted by us, but we just needed a fuel source. We asked him if he knew of it, and he said yes, of course. So, we got the fuel source. The fuel source being a crystal called iridium. Apparently, in their culture of the Omni Empire, the iridium crystal would both act as its currency, and its fuel, for the time being, from what I could hear. So, we continue our navigations, our predictions, till soon we found a suitable substance in a certain location. Then we went mining, got as many iridium crystals as we could without them exploding. From what Skrin has told us, they have a tendency to be unstable and, well, boom. So, with the help of Skrin, we set up a few measures to make sure that it doesn't overload. Once we were done, we set sail to the stars to our next voyage. After we managed to get the ship in the air, well, some of us were quite scared, thinking that, well, we're on a metal ship that's an alien ship of origin, not knowing how we can fly, and not knowing if it is stable enough. So, we set sail, and we said goodbye to our soil, our home, our earth. Looking in from the window of the ship, Earth looked so small to us. We were taking such big leaps so quickly for other people. So we continued to set sail past Mars. We were hoping that the ship would detect it as Mars, since we would kind of update it. But it didn't call Mars Mars. It called it Notharia. Yes, we tried to translate, and we translated that. And we continued our exploration. We found out that they didn't call Sol system Sol anyway. They called it Soragana. And we were confused. Such aliens called it such weird names for our people. What happened to the good old-fashioned names like Bob or Sandy? We continued our out-of-system survey, and the ship went forward, continuing. That was when we discovered something outside the system, something we found quite interesting, and something that the ship apparently recognized. It was a sort of similar gate that we found in the temple, but it was a different type of gate. This one appears to have been built for ships, and from the looks of it, much larger ships. We continued our surveys of the area. My colleagues and I prepped our spacesuits, so we could get on. Skrin told us that we could use some of the spacesuits that the ship had already, but us not knowing what these people actually had for oxygen, we didn't want to take the chance. But we did allow him to upgrade our suits so that we could breathe further, breathe more oxygen than usual. And we went right into the airlock, and we used the ship to get us close. And we had to spacewalk all the way over there. It was quite, how should I say, nauseating. I've never been to space. It's my first time. But me being brave, I decided to go anyway. Even though we had like 3 months to have training of spacewalks and all that. 3 months of training. That wasn't even... Astronauts take years of training to do this. And we had to do it in 3 months. So we had to use our 3 months of training to walk in space. One of my colleagues made the joke, one big step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Of course, we continued. When we reached the hall of the gate, I touched it with my hand. Of course, I didn't feel anything. I was wearing a glove. But I felt as if I could feel the metal. How cold it was. How ancient it was. We noticed that it never sustained any damage. So it was safe to assume it was here either recently, or by recent I mean like 1,000 years recently, or it was just appeared out of nowhere. Because it did kind of appear on our sensors out of nowhere. So we continued looking on the exterior. We asked our ship to circle around it so we can get some more outside perspective. Then our ship told us that they spotted what looked to be an entrance. I gathered my colleagues and we went to it. It once again was gigantic door. We tried to find the panel. We did find it. Looks like it was the same. It looked like it was matched. There were several panels, some matching our height. So at least we know that they were a bit non-discriminating against other smaller life forms. And we opened it, luckily, the door. When we got in, the doors behind us closed. At first, my colleagues and I were a bit panicked. We didn't know what was going on. We were scared half our minds. But we pressed on. As we continued looking through Sorry. It's just that day overwhelmed me so much in there. So much knowledge was in that gate. Were we even worthy of getting inside there? Probably not, but we continued on, we pressed on. My colleagues and I searched through the hull of the ship. We looked through each and everything, and soon we discovered what looked to be a control room. We spread out, looking through the area, seeing what was in the control room. So, of course, there were many panels, but they were all off. We continued looking through the panels, seeing if there was anything. If not, nothing. That was when we found what appeared to be an activation switch. We were quite cautious. One of my colleagues joked, saying that, "Oh look, a giant switch, nothing wrong is going to happen here." I, of course, gave him a stare, saying, "Really, man?" And we hit the switch. As soon as we pressed it, the station, or gate, or whatever you can call it these days, activated. turned on. Apparently it was just offline. It had enough power in it, it just was offline. So we went back to our ship. It was a long walk, but we made it there. Saw the gate, coming back to life, slowly but surely. It didn't take long for us to try to move the ship in front of the gate so we can see if it can turn on. That's when it did. And inside, it was spectacular. The entire gate swirled up. Well, not the entire gate, but the inside of it. It swirled up like a wormhole. We went in, and when we did, we felt a slight jolt, as if the gate was pulling in the ship. We went straight through. And on the other side, we weren't even on the other side though. We were just in what looked like to be a wormhole. Blue, bright streams of light. It was so beautiful, so amazing. I took pictures of it, tried to anyway, but sadly I never had a camera at the time. And one of my colleagues asked Scrin, what did they call this? These streams of light. And he blatantly called it stream space. We were quite interested in this stream space. And while we tried to figure out what else was out there in the stream space, like we took some samples. One of my colleagues said, if we tried to take some samples out there, we're probably going to get ourselves destroyed, won't we? And of course, we kind of face-palmed at him, saying, really, man? Sorry, it's just that Sorry if I'm pausing. It's just that thinking it was such an amazing sight. Stream space, the gates, Skadorians, mech humans. What else is out there? That's why after 3 years after that, we returned here to Earth. And I'm going to bring you guys on my journey. We're gonna go out to stream space. We're gonna go out to the multiverse, outside our multiverse. We're gonna go to the Omniverse. We're gonna go out there, find this Omni Empire. And when we do, then we'll know the answers to all of our questions.